VCC, RC, R1, R2, RE, CE. Common connection to ground. Capacitor here, and this is the load resistance RL. Again here we're having a input coupling capacitor C in and C out. We can also refer to this as C1 and C2, and then depending upon the application we have the input signal, which is referred to as source voltage, and all this input circuit will have a source resistance. For example, if I want to use this circuit as an audio amplifier, voice amplifier, audio is in the range of 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. How do we control this frequency? We'll discuss in the single stage amplifier, multi-stage amplifier, RC coupling, and if we get to perform the experiment, we'll prove this. Fine. Now, this is the simplest circuit which can be used as an amplifier. We have discussed in the last class why this R1, R2, RE, meaning what is the function of all these components. Why simply I cannot use a single transistor to amplify or boost the signal. There are some problems. Now, all these things are designed so that the output current IC and output voltage VCE is constant. That's what we expect from any electronic circuit. The output should remain constant. Now, okay, let us correlate this particular circuit with this block diagram. Now here you see two wires going into the circuit and two wires coming out of the circuit. Fine. If I relate this block diagram with this particular circuit, then you can say these are the two wires that goes into the circuit, and these are the two wires from which we tap the output signal. So the black box, this circuit here inside, is nothing but this particular amplifier. Now we are ignoring these component values. Why? Because if you recollect, we have written the what is the entire objective, what is the objective of this particular studies is to find out the input impedance, output impedance, then voltage gain and current gain. Now these are the characteristics of any amplifier. For example, if I want to compare the performances of two amplifiers, then definitely I cannot compare them based upon the weight or the size. It has to be electrical characteristics. So it has to be input impedance, output impedance, and this has to be high, this has to be low, and so on. Fine. Now, if you recollect the output impedance equation, for example, let me just write here for your understanding. When we solve the Z parameters, the derivation, what I get is the value of Zi in terms of H parameters. That is Hi minus, this we are going to derive today, HR HF divided by 1 plus H0 into RL. Now see, if I want to calculate the input impedance of the circuit, fine, of the amplifier in general, then I need to know these components. Which are the components? HR, HF, H0, fine, and HI. These are the four hybrid parameters I need to know. From where I'm going to get these values? From the data sheets. From where I'm going to get the data sheet? Just type out in the Google bar, say data sheet of BC 107. You'll get a document of around 30 to 35 pages, wherein the load is connected across the output terminal. And we have discussed what is this load. Load can be any appliance. Fine, it can be if it is amplified, it can be a speaker here with a different impedance matching resistance. Fine. So, and one of the input and output terminal is generally made common. So this is the common terminal. If it is common emitter, this emitter, okay, is made common to both. the base and the collector. The signal to be amplified is the AC signal here, and basically it's a sinusoidal signal at some fixed or a variable frequency. This frequency, if I want to test the particular circuit, as I told you, there are two things when you draw any signal. One is the amplitude, fine. The strength or the magnitude, it is referred to as amplitude, the height, okay. And second one is the frequency. So if I want to test the circuit, any given circuit, then I need to always use the signal in case of amplifier as 20 millivolts, the input signal, and the frequency has to be 1 kilohertz. This is the test signal which has to be applied here. Fine. And it will have some resistance, which is referred to as source resistance. Okay. Now, referring to this figure, Vs is the source voltage, Rs is the internal resistance of the source, V1 is the actual input. Now see here, though the signal here is Vs and what we say voltage across is the same, fine, but then out of this voltage, some of the voltage will get dropped across this resistor. When the circuit is complete, any circuit is properly connected, fine, current passes through it. Whenever current passes through a resistor, a voltage will be dropped across it. Okay. Now, though I'm applying say 10 millivolts, okay, I am not sure that I'm going to get 10 millivolts here at this end. Maybe because of this source resistance, 2 millivolts will get dropped across this resistor, and the remaining 8 millivolts will be available as the actual input. Fine. So what we can say is V1 here, this V1, okay, is the actual input. I hope you people are understanding this fundamentals. This voltage is denoted as V1. This voltage is denoted as V2. Fine. And here we are going to have output across the load resistance. Now here you see the output is almost the same because there is no resistor connected in between. So voltage across will be the same. Again, as I said, it all depends upon the input resistance and the output resistance, that is input impedance and the output impedance. This is the input impedance and here this is the output impedance. So when I look from this end, the resistance offered by this network is the input impedance. When I look from this end, the impedance offered is the output impedance, Z0 and Zi. Similarly, what is I1? I1 is the current going into the amplifier. So this is the input current I1. I2 is the output. I1 and I2. I1 is the input current. I2 is the output current. And what is V2? V2 is the output voltage across the load. Fine. The voltage across is the same. There is no resistor in between here. So this voltage will be available at the output. Even if I connect hundreds of resistors, the voltage across always remains the same. Fine. Now, if I want to calculate the input resistance Ri, input resistance Ri, what is resistance? You always remember this, V equals to I into R. So R will be V by I. Fine. So there's a voltage and there's a current term. Now we are dealing with the input. So it has to be V1 by I1. So this is the input voltage and this is the input current. Now there are two things here, input voltage and the source voltage. These are two different voltages. Why? Because the difference will be dropped across this resistor. Right? The ratio of output current to the input current is called as current gain, and it is denoted as current gain is denoted as AI, which is I2 by I1. I2 is what? The output current, I1 is the input current. So the ratio of 2 will give me the current gain. Fine. Many a times, in case of, common base circuit and all, you're going to find a negative sign here. Fine. Now, remember, this is the most important point. If you have a sign minus I2 by I1, what it means? Okay. Whenever you come across any negative sign, okay, that means their polarities are different. One is incoming, the other one is outgoing. Okay. So if their polarities are different, we use this negative sign. If there's a voltage of 1.5 volt and minus 1.5 volt, fine, what it means? It's a voltage, but their polarities are different. So this minus sign reflects the polarity. Remember, it's not, time scale like 0, -1, -2. No, there does not exist any minus as such in the electronic circuit. You will not find minus voltages, but that is the notation that we use. Fine, with respect to the polarities, plus and minus. Otherwise, we don't have any negative voltages. All the voltages are positive, but their polarities are different. Okay, I hope this is clear. And then if I want to calculate the voltage gain, then gain is always represented by a sub v or subscript v. It will be v2 by v1. V2 is the output voltage and v1 is the input voltage. Fine. And if I want to calculate the power gain, AP, it will be AV into AI. What is power? Power is product of V into I. Okay. Next, this is the hybrid model. VI is the input voltage to the amplifier. Input voltage to the amplifier. What this box contains inside? A common emitter amplifier circuit. Fine. II is the input current, to the amplifier. II here is the input current to the amplifier. I0 is the output current of the amplifier here. Okay, the output current in this section, in this loop, is the I0. So this is the output current, and V0 is the output voltage across the load resistor. Normally we connect a load. So this is the output voltage. So these are just the 4 things. And based on these 4 things, we are calculating the hybrid parameters, and using the hybrid parameters, we are calculating those most 4 important factors: input impedance, output impedance, voltage gain, and current gain. Okay. Now, from our previous discussion, okay, we had calculated the values of, okay, let me write this expression. Vi, okay, is a function of II and V0, and I0 is a function of II. Now what it means here? Now this input current II and the output voltage V0 are independent variable. These are independent variables. Why? Because the transistor is a current control device. Output voltage depends upon the input current. Why? We have seen the equation. Output voltage is given as VCC minus ICRC in a common emitter circuit. Fine. And what? How do I calculate this? Here, this is known, battery. RC is the physical value of resistance. What is unknown here is IC. How do I calculate IC? IC is beta times IB. This beta is normally given in the specifications of the transistors, or in the when you solve the numericals, this value will be provided. So what is unknown? IB. IB depends upon the input signal. Fine. So ultimately your output voltage, this is the output voltage across collector and emitter. This is how it is read. Collector and emitter. Voltage across collector and emitter is a function of IC. IC is the output current. This is output voltage. Output current depends upon input current. Input current depends upon the input signal. Fine. So I input current and output voltage are independent, and this two input voltage and output current are dependent. So this depends on these values. Fine. Now this can be written as Vi equals to, this is from the two port network, H12 V naught and I naught equals to H21 II plus H22 V naught. Now these are the four parameters. Okay. And how do we obtain the values of H11? H11 is equal to Vi by II. If I want to get the value of H11, I have to set this term equals to 0. Fine. So what is V naught? V naught is the output. Output voltage has to be made to 0. So if I want to make this value equals to 0, how do I do it? V naught is the output voltage. If I want to make output voltage 0, I just have to short this. The moment I short this, the voltage, what is the voltage? It is the potential difference. Okay. If I take a simple wire and if I told you to measure the voltage between these 2 points, what will be the voltage? It will be 0, because all along the wire it will have a common potential. But if there are two parallel wires running, then you can calculate the voltages. But even if this voltage is the same as with respect to this wire, then the difference will be 0. Fine. Meaning what I'm doing here, I'm just shorting this, so the potential becomes same. Fine. So H11 equals to Vi by II, provided I set V naught equals to 0. So accordingly, I get all those four values. Just let me write this down. Vi by V naught, I naught by II, and I naught by V naught. By setting II equals to 0, V naught equals to 0, and II equals to 0. How do I set input current equals to 0? Input current is the current which is entering into the circuit. How do I make it 0? Make the circuit open. Okay. So open circuit. And how I make the voltage 0? Make the circuit short circuited. So short circuit and open circuit. Okay. Now this is what is referred to as input resistance. H22 is the output admittance. Output admittance. And admittance is given as expressed as mhos or Siemens. These are the units. For input resistance, the unit is kilo ohms. Typically, this value is 1 kilo ohms or 1.2 kilo ohms for input resistance. Output resistance is very high, that we'll discuss. Now, why this is referred to as hybrid? We have discussed in the class hybrid meaning mixed. Mixed in what sense? Check out their units. Current, this is the voltage gain. So naturally there are no units here. This is again this is the voltage gain. Here this is current gain. So again no units. And here the units are Siemens, that is mhos, and here it is ohms. So there are different types of units used, and hence meaning they are basically mixed units. Hence it is referred to as hybrid parameters. Okay. So in the class we have mentioned this H11 as HI. Okay, this is the short form for input resistance. Okay, next H21 as HF. It is a short circuit current gain. Okay, what is left? H12 is denoted as HR. See, this is the way it is written. H and offset by 25%. Okay, little down. HR. It is not in line. Okay, remember, it is subscript. HR is reverse voltage transfer ratio, and Finally, we have the last one, H22. It is denoted as H naught and it is referred to as output admittance. Fine. Now, in this case, in this transistor amplifier, as I said, it is treated to be as black box. It can be common base. This circuit can be common base. It can be common emitter, or it can be common collector based upon the three configurations. Okay. Now, how do I denote this for the different configurations? If it is for common emitter circuit, okay, if I'm going to use a common emitter circuit, this is labeled as HIE, HFE, HRE, and HOE. Followed, if I make use of a common base circuit, these terms will be HIB, HFB, HRB, and HOB. So the second alphabet, small alphabet, refers to the configuration. CC is out of question. It is not used as an amplifier. It is used for the impedance matching. Fine. I hope this is clear to you. Now, look at this diagram. The first one is common emitter circuit. Okay. Now, just to save the time, I've just taken this from some textbook. This is the textbook for images. So when we take any images from the net or somewhere, we have to give the courtesy. We directly cannot copy paste without giving the credit to that person. So this is available on the net. So this is common emitter circuit. Emitter is connected to ground. Here, this is common base circuit, and this one is the common collector circuit. From the point of these two are important: common emitter and common base. Now see here, when we draw the equivalent circuit into the input current is II. It is a product here, and this is R naught, which is given as 1 by H naught. Okay. Now for the first case, now look here. Let's try to understand. This is the equivalent model of the transistor. Fine. So why are we going for this modeling? As we have discussed, what we do here, we replace the transistor symbol by its passive elements. These are the passive elements: resistor, current sources, voltage sources, which will best approximate the performance of the transistor. Meaning, if I replace this transistor by this network, I'm going to get the same performance. That's the meaning of it. Okay. So here there's a slight mistake in the textbook. This has to be HR. Now for common emitter, what did I say? Here, these terms are going to remain the same as it is. But for common emitter, I have to use HIE. See, this voltage source is a function of the output voltage. Output voltage in case of common emitter is VC. See, output voltage is denoted as V naught. This is the general format in general. Okay. This is in particular with common emitter circuit. See, HFE into the incoming current IB. So this is the product. This is the current gain, and this is the voltage transfer ratio. And this is the admittance. Admittance is the reciprocal of your resistance. So here, though H naught is admittance, we are showing it as an resistance. So I have to use 1 by H naught. Okay. So I hope this is clear. HRE into VC. So this is correct. HIC into IB. Now, what you can make out from here, there are two equations. One in terms of input voltage, and secondly, in case of output current. Look here. We are representing this in terms of input voltage and output current. Try to understand this. So if I want to write the equation for the input loop, apply the KVL. So it will be, this circuit is supposed to be complete. So it will be a product of HIE into IB. What I'm going to get? A voltage drop. So this product is voltage. This is the resistance, input resistance of the transistor. Fine. Physically, there is no resistance here. It is just the equivalent circuit. Like for the diode, simplest to understand, this is the symbol of the diode. If I want to draw the equivalent circuit, it will be resistance and the built-in potential. So this will give me the approximation or the performance of this particular device. Similarly, for the transistor, this structure which is within this circle has to be replaced by this entire network. Okay, so I'm just explaining the first one. This you can do it of your own. The what is the voltage drop here? Voltage is the product of current into resistance. Current is what? IB, because this is the base. The current going into the transistor is IB. IB into HIE plus the voltage drop across this component. Now what is HRE? Look here. HRE is H12. What is this? VI by V naught. Okay. If I multiply this, if I replace the HRE by VI by V naught, what is the V naught for this particular case? It is VE. Fine. So VE gets cancelled, and what I'm going to get is the VI value. Similarly here. Fine. So this is the KVL, the voltages, and here from this section, I'm applying the current component. The total current IC will get divided between these two parts. There is a current division here, na? So this is the current generator, and here H naught E into VC will get me the current passing through this resistor. So this resistor is typically a very high value. So this current IC is as good as HFE into IB. So entire current is going to pass through this network. If you recollect, this is as good as combination of Thevenin and Norton's theorem. We otherwise cannot apply those theorems here. You know what is the importance of those theorems you are studying in CAS. Fine, KVL, Kirchhoff current law, and so on. Now, this is the best approximation. We have a Thevenin circuit, we have the Norton circuit. Okay, I hope this is clear. I have put up one question based on this slide, okay, at the end. Next, this is important from the numerical point of view. Guidelines for analysis of transistor circuit. Now, these are the guidelines. First is draw the actual circuit. Then replace the coupling capacitors. Just go through it. And now we are going to answer the question why. See, always you put up the question why against each statement. Why we draw the actual circuit diagram, why we replace the coupling capacitors, why we do so. Okay, let us start. Fine. What is the first step? Draw the actual circuit diagram. Let me draw the circuit diagram. Circle the transistor. Output is taken from this terminal with a capacitor. Why this capacitor is used? To block the effect of this DC source. This is DC voltage. Why it is VCC? Why not minus VCC? Because this is NPN transistor. Q is the notation for transistor. Since this is NPN, this terminal will be NPN. And you remember, for active region, the collector has to be reverse biased. So N has to be connected to the positive. If I use the PNP transistors, fine, for PNP transistor, this sign has to be negative. So when you are working with the PNP transistor, just remember, just change the polarities of all the voltages and current. That's it. Okay. Now, let me complete this structure first. So due to the constraint of time, I won't be able to complete the derivation today also. So we'll take little extra time on this concept so that you understand it properly for once and all. R1, R2, RC, RE. See, as an electronics student, you're supposed to know to design the amplifier. What are the components? What are the function of each and every component? Because these are the building blocks for any big circuitry. Fine. Always show this ground. Ground meaning what? The negative of this battery is connected common to this wires, set of wires. Fine. Next, replace the coupling capacitors and the emitter bypass capacitors by a short circuit. Replace the coupling capacitors Which are the coupling capacitors? This C1, C2, and CE. Emitter bypass capacitor. This is bypass, meaning it is providing alternate path. So it is called as bypass capacitor. These are coupling. This is coupling the input signal, and this capacitor is coupling to the output. So these two are referred to as coupling capacitors. Okay. Now what it says, replace the coupling capacitors and the emitter by it is bypassing the emitter. So this is emitter. Those who don't know, this is base, and this is the collector terminal. Fine. The voltage at this terminal will be VC. Now replace the coupling capacitors by a short circuit. Now why are we shorting these capacitors? Shorting, there are two cases. One is open circuit, second one is short circuit. These are the two wires. I'm placing a jumper in between, so I'm shorting it. Here I'm opening the circuit, so there won't be, or the signal will not travel if there's a break in the wire. Here the signal will easily travel. Now what it says, short the capacitors. Why we need to short the capacitors? The reason is the resistance or the reactance of the capacitor is given as 1 upon 2 pi fc. Okay. Now we are dealing this amplifier with a very high frequency, fine, in terms of kilohertz. So this, when this frequency is very high, and we also take this capacity value to be, of value of 10 microfarad. Typically for amplifier, remember, this is 10 microfarad, this is 10 microfarad, and this is 47 microfarad at 22 volts. Now, depending upon the frequency and capacitance, you will realize that the value of X is very negligible, meaning it is very small. Because why? The value of frequency is high. That means what? Reactance is opposition to flow of current. Reactance is as good as resistance. Now, what is the difference between resistance and reactance? Reactance is also a resistance, but it has a term in terms of, complex term. Like in case of, similarly for inductors, we have inductive reactance. For capacitors, is capacitive reactance. There are imaginary terms here. Fine. For reactance, if it is only the real part, then it is referred to as resistance. Meaning, the another way to explain this is, when I'm passing any signal to a resistor, okay, see, there's a resistor here. If I pass any signal to this resistor, at the end of it, I'm going to get the same signal. Okay. But whereas in case of capacitors and inductors, it has been observed that there is a delay, or there is a, lag or lead in the signal. There's a shifting in the signal because of their reactive components. Okay. So they are reacting to the signal. And how much is that reactance? It is given as X equals to 1 upon 2 pi Fc. Okay. So if the reactance is low, that means it will allow the signal to flow smoothly. So it is as good as a short circuit. So basically what we do, we short this. Okay. So and secondly, this is the first point, guideline 1. The second guideline 2, is short the coupling and bypass capacitors. Short coupling and bypass capacitors. Which are the short coupling capacitors? C1 and C2. Okay, these are the coupling capacitors. Now he also says bypass this. So moment I short this, if I place a short here, okay, what will happen? The current is coming down. It has reached this point. There are two ways to go. Either the current can go in this direction, or current can go in this direction. Now here we are talking about only AC signal. AC signal, remember, this is AC signal. So there are two ways to go for this particular AC current. Either it can pass through resistor, or it will pass through this wire. Current, remember, current always pass through the path which offers a very least resistance. There are say two roads. Okay, one road is very smooth. Okay, no curves, straight, and there's another route wherein there are speed breakers in between. There are potholes in between. Definitely, will prefer this road, isn't it? Likewise, the same. The current will always follows a path which will offer the less resistance. So there won't be any point in having any signal here. Entire current will be passing through this capacitor. So there won't be any voltage getting dropped here. So if I draw the equivalent circuit now, so what did I do here? I'm shorting the capacitor C1, shorting the capacitor C2. So in case of equivalent circuit, these two won't be appearing. Where the RE has gone, it means the AC signal is going to pass through this wire by bypassing this resistor. So it is called as bypass capacitor. It it is allowing a separate path for the AC signal to travel. So there won't be any signal passing through this RE. If there is no signal passing through RE, why to show here? Followed. So we are not showing that resistor here because there is no AC voltage getting dropped across this resistor. Fine. What was the next point? This we have done. Draw the actual circuit diagram. Second part is also done. Third part is replace the DC source by a short circuit. Fine. Now all the DC, we are drawing the AC equivalent circuit. So all this DC voltages should be connected to ground. So VCC has to be connected to ground. So what I am doing here, I'm redrawing the structure. R1, R2, RC. This is RC, okay? I have made a mistake, but you don't make a mistake. Always draw the circle around the transistor. So I am connecting this point to ground and this point to ground. What I have done here, all the DC voltages are to be connected to ground. Let me write here. Guideline 3. Now what is that guideline? Short VCC and ground lines. Okay, I'm just shorting this R1 and R2 separately. Now we have to have a common ground in the circuit. Fine. We cannot have this multiple hanging grounds. Fine. That's not actually the truth, but for you all to remember, we have to have a common ground in the circuit. So let me draw the circuit again with a different color. So first the transistor is drawn. I'm encircling the transistor. Okay. Draw the ground here. Now you see this R2, one end is connected to the base, the second end is connected to the ground. And this is as it is. Now see, what about R1? R1, one end is connected to the base, that is R2. The second end is connected to the ground. So let me flip this down. And now here's your R1. Followed, there are two ends to this resistor. One end goes to the meeting point of R2 and base. This is that same point. Okay. And the other end of the R1 is connected to ground. Simple. Now this RC is also connected to ground. What is RC? Collector resistor, where it is placed between the collector and ground. So from the collector, I'm taking the resistor as it is, and the second end is connected to ground. Now, what did I achieve here? This is the circuit with VCC and ground short circuit here. Short the VCC, and typically I'm going to get the output here. This is R1, R2, and input will be applied here on the circuit diagram, and locate these points at the start of the equivalent circuit. Now what I have drawn right now is AC equivalent circuit. There are two types of equivalent circuit, AC and DC. Right now what we are discussing is AC equivalent circuit, in which the capacitors are shorted. Okay, this is easy to remember, and the DC voltages are connected to ground. Clear? These are the two things you have to remember while drawing AC equivalent circuit. Okay. So let us start with the fourth point. Find the three terminals. Okay. So this is guideline 4 written here. No, guideline 3 is short VCC and ground. This is guideline 4. What is the fourth guideline? It says mark the point. Mark. I just write a short form B, C, and E. This is what we have done. Okay. Guideline 5. Replace the transistor by its H parameter model. Replace the transistor by its H parameter model. Okay. And what was the model? We had a resistor, a voltage source, a current generator, and this admittance. This is 1 by HOE. This is HFE into IB product. This is into VC plus minus, or you can show also this signal or this symbol. Okay. HIE. This is the base terminal. Here this is the collector terminal, and here this is the emitter terminal. Emitter in the sense we have made the emitter common. This is common emitter configuration. Okay, this is what, this is simply a H parameter model. Parameter model. Now I'm using CE configuration because I use the subscript E everywhere. Fine, for all the H parameters. Now what is the next step? Replace the transistor by its H parameter model. This is the model. Okay, here this is the transistor, and what I need to do is I have to replace. So when I replace, the circuit will look like this. R2 will be taken as it is. They are just carried forward. In place of transistor, we are using this model. Understood? Which is shown in a dashed line. And similarly, what else is missing? RC. Here there is a RC. So I have to connect RC here. And output is taken from this terminal. Input is applied to the base. And this completes my circuit with transistor replaced by H parameter equivalent. So let us mark this as B, emitter, collector, and what are the term? HIE, HRE into VC. VC is what? The output voltage across the collector. Here I had mentioned. Here, VC, the output voltage across the collector. And here this is 1 by HOE. This term is HFE into IB. So what we have drawn right now is the circuit, for the actual circuit diagram. Replace the coupling capacitor and emitter bypass capacitor by short circuit. Replace DC source by a short circuit here. That means VCC has to be connected to ground. Mark the points base, emitter, collector, and replace the transistor by its H parameter model. So this was the model. We are replacing this model. You see the dotted box here. There's a dotted box here. So we just replace this transistor by this model. And when I do so, I get this big circuit. Okay. So this is the, what is referred to as AC equivalent circuit. AC equivalent circuit. In case of RE modeling, we are going to use DC equivalent circuit. Fine. Okay, C1 is the input capacitor. It has a polarity, so the curved plate is a negative. Okay, otherwise I have to every time write plus minus. So this is how the, see, otherwise I have to write a plus and minus here, so that we creates a confusion. So always draw a curved plate for negative end. This is the resistor R2. This voltage is VB, the voltage at this point. VC, this is clear. Uh, Here, this is the output voltage, fine. And we know each circuit requires a load resistance to be connected at the output. So it is shown in the dotted line. So this part is the circuit present in your black box, that amplifier section. So this circuit shows you the common emitter amplifier circuit. This circuit consists of voltage divider bias. Which are the voltage divider biasing network? R1, R2. This is called a voltage divider network. In one of the class, I told you what is the function of R1 and R2. And together with RE, it forms a voltage divider biasing. Okay. So this is common emitter amplifier circuit. Amplifier circuit with or it consists of voltage divider bias, voltage divider bias with emitter bypass capacitor, which is the one here, CE, emitter bypass capacitors. And there are two coupling capacitors, C1 and C2. So one at the base and the other one is at the collector of the transistor. The signal source is the V in, or we can also write it as Vs, and this resistance as Rs. Vs and Rs. So Rs is connected to the transistor base via coupling capacitor. C1 and C2 couples the external load. What is the need of C1, C2? We have seen in the previous class, and we also seen that for a common emitter circuit, if this is the input, okay, if I fed to a common emitter amplifier, the output will be in the opposite direction, keeping the frequency constant. This frequency will remain constant. That is what is called as faithful amplification. Okay, this is common emitter circuit. A hybrid model derivation. We'll just give a start to it. Now from this, what is the job of this model? It's 4:46, another 4 minutes. I'll take this class. The objective here in these parameters for this general diagram. Here right now what we are not discussing whether it's common emitter, common base, or common collector circuit. That's the reason why we are not mentioning whether it's HIE or HFB and so on. Okay. Tomorrow. The current gain is denoted as, gain is always AI subscript I. What is AI? It is output current by input current. Okay, and what is the output current here? Let me write. If it's passing through load resistor, let us call it as a load current IL. This is RL. Always show the arrow, otherwise it looks like a short circuit. I2 is the current going into the circuit, and so on. Okay, we'll just finish this in a quick time. AI is the output current upon the input current. What is the output current? Notation is the load current IL upon I1. If you see, this I2 is moving in the opposite direction to RL. Fine. So why it is going in the opposite direction? Because if I take a common emitter circuit, then current always flow from higher potential to lower potential. Fine. So IL can be written as minus of I2, looking at this particular notations. Fine. Why? Since load current is minus of I2. Then looking into right hand side loop of figure, we'll mark this as figure 2, otherwise there will be confusion. Figure 2, and this is figure 1. Of figure 2, we find I2 equals to HR into I1 plus H0 into V2, and V2 equals to IL into RL, which is equal to minus I2 into RL. So substituting 2 in 1, we get I2 equals to, so I2 into 1 plus H0 RL into HF into I1, or I2 by I1 equals to HF upon 1 plus H0 RL. Okay, so this implies, last line of the lecture, current gain AI equals to minus of I2 by I1, which equals to minus of HF into 1 plus H0 into RL. So by this analysis, we could get the value of AI. Now, if I want to find AI for current gain for common emitter configuration, then what I need to do is, this will be AI, current gain will be AI minus of HF, I just have to write HFE plus, sorry, 1 upon, sorry, minus HFE upon 1 plus HOE into RL. Fine, this completes the only the first part of our objective, that's the current gain.